Since you're young, you have been trained to follow somebody else's schedule. You go to preschool, you go to kindergarten, you go to high school. You are going somewhere 9 to 5, Monday through Friday with the weekends off since you're born. That's not the case anymore. We are now entering a new phase in human history where changing your career is considered a positive.
It's amazing how much of our lives is driven by things that we don't consciously choose. We don't realize how much of the paths are laid out for us, and we just follow them. And yet, so much of what it is to be human is to design a life.
What you're breaking is this social structure that says you have to work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 to be a success. That's a falsehood. We are allowed, in this moment in history, for the first time ever, to be who we want to be. That's exciting.
It's hard for me to try to gauge of everything out there, of all the infinite possibilities that I feel like I can do, to just focus on one, just pulling it out of the blue and figuring out what that is. I feel that today the options are limitless. And the biggest question is what is it that I want to do? I feel like if you just had someone to tell you this is what's going to be better for you, wouldn't that be nice?
Over the last few decades, the corporate structure has defined for its employees what success means. It gives them a clear ladder. It says to reach success in the corporate structure, you have to do X, Y, and Z. What we're trying to tell people is that you can flip that ladder over and define success for yourself. Define what it means for you to be successful.
Where we spend the majority of our time now is at work. And to ask that our work doesn't have meaning for us is just too big of an ask. And so I think there's just this moment of awakening of just wanting our work to have deep meaning for us.
End of today, this is the start of.
It's quite difficult for successful people to flip the ladder. Going to a job that maybe isn't as high paying or high status can be a really difficult choice.
In some ways, this is only the very first step.
The traditional concept of the career ladder was established in a very different time, but somehow it managed to stick around, even as every other aspect of work has changed, and continues to change. Every day, every hour, every minute, technology is reinventing countless businesses. Society is shifting, people are living longer, dreaming bigger, as AI masters the tasks they no longer need to do. Still, that ladder stays pointed in the same stubborn direction. This project takes 3 people looking to make big changes and pairs them with 3 experts who have made change their lives' work. We'll follow and support these people as they unlock their fears and hesitations, organize their priorities, even try their dreams on for size, and maybe, just maybe, help them to see that the way forward in their careers isn't necessarily up.
So, what is extraordinary about this project? It gives this opportunity for people to be able to think about designing their own life rather than a path that has been laid out and therefore we might unconsciously follow.
I was raised by a single mom who has 4 kids, one of which is very sick, so money has always been sparse around us. And one of my biggest fears is putting myself out there and then falling flat on my face. For me, personal training is more of a hobby than a career. It's also got an end date to it, like any other athletic endeavor, and all it takes is one accident for me to have, and I blow out my knee, and then I can't work, and then I don't have insurance, and then it's just like, well, what am I gonna do now? The scariest thing to me is the fact that I don't understand where I'm supposed to go or what I'm supposed to do, but I feel like I am supposed to do something. I just don't know what it is, and it sucks.
When at a time when you may not have knowledge about what you love to do, what you're capable of doing, what the needs of society are, all those things in which you need to have those pieces of knowledge together in order to craft a career and design a career that is going to have that ultimate fulfillment. That is quite difficult.
I've always feel like I've been this lost ship with a sail that's just going back and forth about like, which direction do I go? Which way is the current pulling me?
Hey, pardon.
We're all living so much longer, and retirement is taking on a completely different meaning. At which point, you would have another 30 years. That's a long, long time to be not doing what you love and to not bring the world what you're capable of bringing.
It's just like grasping at sand and just watching the sand fall out of your hand until there's just like one particle left, and that one particle is what I'm supposed to be, and I can't identify what that particle is. I wish I could, but I'm just at a loss for it right now.
The consequence of being where we are in today's society, where you can choose what you want to do without being shut down by society for not matching the stereotypes, is that there's too many options. And so we see people paralyzed by fear. When you don't know what to do, when there's doubt, studies show people do nothing.
I think the key to overcoming the paradox of choice is to make little mini experiments in all these different options. If there's anything I learned from social neuroscience, it's that you don't know yourself as well as you think.
Two years ago, I left Wall Street, where I was a vice president, to start my own nonprofit. I run Women's March Alliance in New York City, and I've been running it for 2 years.
We are not the same women we were 2 years ago. We've changed. We're stronger. We've thrust the door to equality open with such a force, we've knocked it off its hinges. We've prevented it from ever closing on another woman again. The power of women has broken through. We can't put it back now.
When I first decided to leave Wall Street and start my own company, and I'd say 50% I was crying terrified. I didn't know if I was gonna make it. And the reality is, I made it.
Give it up to the volunteers. We're 100%
And it's not about making money. It's not about being a success predefined by the corporate structure. It's about defining your own level of success.
So I'm on my way to meet Jacob. Jacob is really interesting. Jacob has such a diverse background. He was in the US military, he has a degree in chemistry, he's now a personal trainer. And I think he's just looking for a little bit of direction and a push, and we've got just the push for him. I think we're really gonna shake him up and get him right on the direction that he needs to go. So I'm actually really excited about this.
Nice to meet you, Catherine.
Nice to meet you as well. Jacob will be going to a research facility in Greenland. It'll give him the opportunity to change his environment, to get a new perspective, and to apply all of the skill sets he's acquired over his lifetime using his various careers. Okay, awesome. Well, how would you feel about doing some research in Greenland at the Arctic Station?
That sounds crazy. That sounds absolutely insane, to be completely frank with you. I'm stoked. Like, Greenland, I never even envisioned it. Oh my gosh,
Right.
that's...
What do you feel about research? You have that chemistry background.
I'm nervous because I haven't done that for a couple years. Been thrust into the lab environment, so it's definitely gonna take some getting used to. I don't even know what to ask. Like, how do I prepare for something like this? What do I need to get in order?
Look, you're already in order. When people take a change, they panic. They're like, I need a list. I have to know what I have to do. Blah. You know, the reality is you're all prepared. You have everything you need to be successful. You have a great attitude, keep an open mind, and do not set expectations. That is what leads to failure. You're like, I have to get this done in Greenland. Just go.
That fear of failure, how do you overcome it? Because I think that's the scariest thing out there, is having it in your heart and your gut that you know this is what you should do, but when you go and you do it, you fall on your face.
Can you work as a waiter?
Yeah.
Can you work online? Can
Yeah.
you come back and be a personal trainer?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're never gonna be poor. Do you have family that you can move in with?
If I have to, yeah.
So what's the worst thing that can happen? You're not gonna be homeless. You can find a job. If you take that step and you have to go back to work, your resume is that much greater. You have that much more of a skill set, and you can charge that much more for what you're offering.
Yeah.
My current role is the head of analytics for a $12 billion e-commerce platform. I work for the largest sports brand in the world. I think my definition of success is impact. So being able to see some level of change. Sometimes you have to just go with the grind, and that's just part of working. But being able to see the impact of the work that I do, both on the bottom line, but also on the people around me, that's what I find most satisfying. Hi guys, sorry I'm late again.
At least objectively, from the exterior, life is pretty damn good, right? I have this amazing job. I'm physically healthy. My family is healthy. Why would you want to mess with any of that? But there's a point you reach where you kind of think, there might be something a little extra out there.
Increasingly, we want our work to be much more than it was for us in the past. You know, in the past, we went to work in order to make money, and we had our family to be able to provide us with fulfillment, and our community to provide us with social connection, and church to provide us with, and religion to provide us with meaning. And we're now asking our careers to provide us with all of those. A connection to others, a fulfillment, meaning, and contribution, as well as a way to make a living. So that's a very high bar for what we're asking from our careers.
I think the status you get from working for a company like mine is you go to a party and somebody says, oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, I work for this brand. So, oh, that must be amazing.
people are impressed. So I think the status that comes along with it is, it just gives you confidence. Like, you know you're somebody, and leaving that behind is something that's quite terrifying.
I think one of the things that's often saddest is that people feel that, they will go into a job where, for example, they can make a lot of money, even though it's not something that actually fulfills them.
One of the things I do want to be able to prioritize a little more is the important moments in my kids' lives. The big thing I've learned from Isaac is he doesn't give a shit what your job is. Kids don't care about that stuff. They care about how kind you are, how good you are at playing with cars, and stuff like that really does matter.
People feel that I get a little bit of an extra amount of money, or I get an extra status through a better title.
Hey, Isaac, can you come down and help me, please? Okay. Thanks.
And those are important as human beings. I'm not going to discount that those matter to us. They matter to us.
All right, you definitely don't want those oranges?
But they often are limited in how much they can eventually motivate us over the long run.
Okay, boys, ready to go get ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
When you have a kid with special needs, it makes you think about the long-term elements of their life. We know that we're not going to be here forever. And we want to make sure that he has as good a life as possible.
Oh my God, how did you get so handsome? Huh? Oh!
The thing that we have in mind is to build a home for Isaac, a home where he can feel comfortable, where he can have a sense of community. He can be surrounded with people he loves, even when we're gone.
Here you go, pal. Oh my gosh.
If I think back to my dad's generation, my grandfather's generation, they are so grateful to have a job that's comfortable and lifelong. And I have that. So I really struggle with the thought that I might be throwing away so much of what I already have.
Let's go, come on.
Let's go.
All right, come on, guys.
I think we're a mix of motivations. I think we're certainly motivated by our own desire to better our condition. And we're also motivated by the desire to contribute and to make our impact on others in a positive way. And that is the part of us that maybe has not been as well addressed in the workforce.
Nava Ashraf and her team have launched a pioneering theory called altruistic capital that builds on Adam Smith's classic thinking. Smith found that there were two key things that drive people: self-interest and doing good for others. Self-interest is a concept that has been exhaustively explored in the world of work. It's a given that when we want people to do better, we offer them the prospect of a higher salary, a nicer office, a better title, and so on. But until Ashraf came along, the doing good part was left largely unexplored. What her research confirms is that people are equally driven by wanting to create a positive outcome for others with the work they do. It's not only about feeling good, though. Altruistic capital works just like any other capital. It can be accumulated, and it can be depleted.
We often think about, doctors and teachers, they're highly altruistic, bankers, they're in it for the money. So the banking sector, for example, has an extraordinary role in social welfare. The allocation of credit to productive activities is incredibly important for society. But over time, bankers have become disconnected. So you can think about any job. In that moment when you're doing it, are you doing it with a spirit of service? I don't think we know what could happen in terms of what kind of creativity or innovation could be unleashed in that process, because we haven't encouraged people to do that.
And I realized that when I'm engaged in my community, that's when I'm happiest. So I started thinking about, okay, is there a job or a business out there that I could come up with that would allow me to be just as quote-unquote successful, but also be more engaged with my community.
Hold on. Is your foot in?
We want to make sure that Isaac is in a place where he's comfortable, he's safe, and he's happy. You know, there are definitely institutional homes where he could live for the rest of his life, but he's a lively, intelligent kid. We want more for him. My biggest fear is that he would feel isolated and find himself in a place where he's not surrounded by friends or family or people he loves. I think the first time we talked about it was when we watched a web TV show called The Specials. And it showed a house for 4 or 5 people with developmental disabilities. And it kind of flipped a switch in our brains where we realized this is something we're going to have to do for Isaac. You could tell that these were just young people who lived together, they were friends, they had the same drama, and we want Isaac to experience the same things that any typically developing person experiences. You know, the love and the joy and the craziness and getting drunk, and also that he has the independence that he will want, that he does want to be a fulfilled person. So long term, we want to set up a home where he can be comfortable and where he can be among friends and ultimately a family.
Yeah. Goal!
Nice work. You did. It's got a nice goal. Oh, you kissed me out of surprise.
Min första julafton jag jobbade i Stockholm, alltså julafton 1990. Då jobbade jag på julafton och gjorde vi kvällstur i det huset.
I work as a legal advisor at the Swedish police. I'm the head of 10 lawyers, and in many ways I'm exactly where I want to be in my career. I guess people around me would describe me as a very determined person and someone that's always been focused when it comes to my studies and my career. One of the most interesting things now is to work with so-called major incidents, like high-risk soccer games, demonstrations, and during those operations, I function as a legal advisor to the head of deployment. But sometimes I can almost feel stuck. It's almost like I'm caught by everything I've achieved. And I've worked so hard to be where I am and actually never tried anything else. So when I see really brave people around me who dare to make drastic changes and live their dreams, I envy them. Because my dream feels so far away. Since I was a kid, I've had this dream of living and working at a ranch.
If you're thinking about changing your career, recognize that it's terrifying. But you're not the only one who's terrified. Everybody who changes careers is terrified, but they do it anyway. And I'll tell you, I've never met somebody who's changed their career that wasn't better for it, that wasn't saying, oh, I was afraid at first, but after doing it, they're a better human being because they found a piece of themselves, courage, that they didn't know was there before.
What's holding me back is me being a safety junkie. The worst case scenario would be that I wouldn't succeed. I guess that's why. So I picture myself being devastated.
The thought of walking out of the door, carrying my little box of possessions, if I do this, it's going to be hard. In some ways, it's as if I'm leaving an aristocratic family, because it's a family that provides comfort, but also status. And I'm, to be honest, dreading the moment if I walk out the door.
I think it's very hard when people tell you follow your passion. How do you know what your passion is? That's a very difficult thing. So instead, I think what I would say is develop as many skills as you can and Find out what lights you up.
Hey! Hi! Hey, Morton! So nice to finally meet you. Good to see you. Great seeing you, actually. I'm freezing. This is beautiful.
You're freezing?
I am freezing.
Yeah,
it's a long way from Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is absolutely gorgeous.
The station both acts as a hotel for scientists, but we also have our own research or our own monitoring.
The big red house, it's laboratory and library facilities for the station.
Polar research has been exploding during the period in which I have been involved in polar research, mainly due to climate change issues and mainly due to the fact that both the Arctic areas will be very much affected by climate change, but they also play a very important role in a feedback to world climate system. So you need to understand the Arctic systems to be able to model the future climate of the entire Earth system.
Hi, Daffod and Carol. I've been following the specials since the beginning. In large measure, as a result of seeing the specials and the inspiring home you have built, I've been thinking a lot about the idea of breaking the cycle of corporate climbing and refocusing on something that is different or more aligned with my personal values. Ultimately, my wife and I have in mind a place where our own son Isaac can live when he grows up. Isaac is 9 and has Down syndrome. I wonder if you'd have time to meet with me to talk about how you set up the house. I feel like you might also be able to give me the final push I need to take the step of setting up a home for Isaac. All the best, Robert.
I'm super excited to be here. I never thought I would actually do this. My brain tells me this is crazy.
Home where I left my skin and I'm up onto broken strings. Open up my wings and I'm up above.
Hi there.
Welcome to the ranch.
I'm Anna. Nice to meet you.
I'm JP. You must be Lewis. Yep. Robert, nice to meet you. Thanks. So what makes you want to do ranch work?
Normally I work as a lawyer.
A lawyer?
So it's
a lawyer working
a
at
bit
a ranch.
Hello, Robert. Nice to meet you. Finally.
Yes, indeed.
Finally.
Sam.
Hi, Sam. Robert, nice to meet you.
Have you worked with horses before?
Never.
Maybe we can turn you into a cowgirl.
I hope so. I'm really happy that I got this chance. I always pictured myself riding horses and working at the ranch, but now that I'm here and it's all real, I feel so nervous.
When you're about to make a big change, your brain goes through this 2 waves of analysis. The first one is emotional, and it hits you within 1/10 of a second.
Here you go. This should get you started.
Wow.
Of course, you gotta have a cowgirl hat.
The second wave is highly rational, and the whole reason you even have rational thought is to make good long-term decisions. So sometimes you have to listen to it, even if your emotions are screaming at you to do the safe route.
Deep inside our brain is an almond-shaped set of neurons called the amygdala. It's the part of the brain that triggers our most primitive responses: fight and aggression, flight and avoidance, or freeze and do nothing at all. As our first response fades, the frontal lobe cortex gets to work. This is the rational part of our brain that assesses our options and tries to predict consequences. If I do this, how will it make me feel? Will this be good for me? Is it worth the effort? The brain weighs the options between staying safe or taking a risk. But our brains are also creatures of habit. They prefer doing more of what they're used to doing without deviation from the norm, simply because this requires less energy. Brains love saving energy, so unless we challenge them to do something new, they'll default to the same choices over and over. We need to push our brains to go beyond our comfort zones and progress.
And then pull yourself up. Wow, you've done this before, haven't you?
Well, twice.
Twice? Well, that looked very good.
It's normal to experience fear and anxiety when considering a massive life change. What separates people who are successful from those who stay in the same track but unhappy is overcoming that fear. That's courage and that's bravery. It's understanding that fear is part of the process and acting anyways.
There you go, hold your reins.
Left, right, stop.
Perfect. See how he's going backwards? Because you pulled too much backwards, so that's why he'll go backwards. So once they stop, you release. Otherwise, he thinks, oh, I'm going in reverse, and he's going to go backwards.
Okay.
All right, good job.
You know, I've always had this romantic image of mountains and sunset and sitting on a horse.
Well, what's holding you back then?
I guess that I don't have experience.
The experience can be had. You just got to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's go. Let's kick him.
What are the most important skills you need to have to run a ranch?
You got to believe in yourself that you can do it. No matter how many people tell you you're crazy or that you can't do it, you just got to do it. And believe in yourself.
Every day I find myself pinching myself, trying to wake up from this dream that I'm living, and I'm not waking up because this is actuality, and I can't believe it. When you're truly passionate about something, it's infectious. I'm just amazed by the grandeur of it all. It's unlike anywhere I've ever been before. This place where these people have been living forever, and yet it looks untouched by human hands, and the work that's done here is just fascinating. Coming here has just given me a whole new perspective on so many things, but it's confirmed a thought I've always had, in the sense that this world has so much to offer and so much to see and so much to do, and I just want to take as much of it in as I can. It's so exciting to finally feel like I have a direction that I want to go in life.
Okay, so tomorrow we are going to do some marine sampling, and for that purpose I need to prepare.
I wanted to be a doctor from the time I was a kid. So I got my chemistry degree, and during that process, I realized I'm not very scholastic. I was never the kid excited to go to school. I was the one like, how can I get sick so I don't have to go to school today? I'd much rather play outside. And before I realized that I was so far ahead of the game that going back was just going to be a waste of money and time. And as we get older, time is the most valuable thing we have. Have you seen any changes since 1994 that are profound when it comes to marine life and marine levels?
Yeah, definitely. When I was very young, I wanted to be either a professional cook or a sailor, but my parents had some kind of idea that one of their kids should be an academic. But I drank too much and smoked too much during high school, and I came out with a not very high degree. And then I think I applied 2 times to get into the medical university in Copenhagen. And then the second choice, and I decided on that it could probably be a good job to be a priest also, because there was some philosophy and stuff like that. So I thought I ticked on theology on the application form, but I actually ticked on geology. So that's how I ended up in natural science.
It really goes back to that first conversation I had with Catherine when I was speaking about my fears. And I've always, my whole life, allowed the financial question get in the way. And I actually had a similar conversation with Morton, and he said very much a similar thing to her. Don't listen to that voice. You have people that love you. You have people that care about you. And that's my biggest lesson I've learned, is to just basically make that voice shut up and just go jump off the ledge and do it, because we only get one chance. I only have one chance, and every opportunity I have from this point forward, I'm going to say yes to, because why not? At the end of the day, why not? I have people that love me, I have people that care about me, and I have people that aren't going to let me fail, and I'm not gonna let myself fail. So I'd say above all, that is the biggest lesson I've learned, to just jump in, just jump all the way in. I'm not willing to go back to the way I was living life before, because it's just the day-to-day, and I'm not after a day-to-day life. I'm after something more, and I think I'm gonna have that ability, and I'm gonna pursue it till the day I die.
As a conclusion, at least what I advise my kids is to follow their dreams, whatever they are. Be engaged and perform well, and then life will take you in positive directions, I think.
You can talk if you want.
Okay.
Anything?
Yeah. I love you so much.
Oh, no, because you had to come up with?
Yes.
Okay.
I love you so much.
I'm quite good at feeling.
You do it. Find it difficult, do it away from you. Cool.
Straight in there?
Straight in there, mate.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that hand.
That's it. Take the big sticker off the front first, if you can.
Oh, I've got peeler in there. Got peeler in the
How does the rota work? Like, do you have to cook or do cleaning on a certain day?
I think we're going to... What's this?
So what are we in now?
Lewis.
Lewis?
Are we week one? Yeah, week one. Yeah, week one.
Okay, so today is Tuesday. Lewis, oh, there we go. Lewis cooking. The thing that I really want to get out of it is it's very real. Like, I want to understand how they got it set up. Like, what does a really, really good group home look like? And it's very practical. So that if we really do it, we've really thought it through. So I'm hoping to learn from Dafford and Carol's knowledge and their experience.
I was working as a special ed teacher, and I really couldn't leave the guys that I was teaching. They were moving on, the progression was towards the end of their schooling. They would have been 17, 18, and they're out in the wide world.
Right.
So I couldn't leave any of them like that. And Carol was looking around and she could not find anywhere that wasn't clinical. You know, there'd be signage on the walls everywhere saying, you know, fire door, this, that. It wasn't a normal home. There was no environment of it being their own home. And that's key, their own home.
In any sort of family or group, sometimes there's problems, like one person has an argument with someone else. How do you figure that stuff out?
Oh, we just solve it in 1 minute, don't we?
Yeah.
We solve it in 2 seconds.
Normally, with friends, they get together as a group. We do normally go out on Friday nights.
That's the secret then. Can you remember what the final thing was that pushed you over the edge to say, we're doing this?
It wasn't organic. It literally was. This has got to happen. There's got to be change. There's got to be change in this system. That chance at living a life like I do, like you've had, that's what pushed me over the edge. So really just do it. Show it can be done. It's not rocket science. The things you need is a house to live in, money to live on, and money to pay the staff to care for you. That is it.
So is it one of those businesses where you can't ever go on holiday, or like if you're getting calls in the middle of the night all the time, or.
But do you know where I went on holiday this year?
With the
guys.
Yeah. But that's one of the things that worried me a little bit was that it's clearly not a huge money-making business. But I think there's other ways to approach it, kind of a real estate perspective in mind, that we could build it into a pretty viable business. I don't think we're immediately going to get rich off it, and that's never been the goal. But if we can use it as a way to, primarily build amazing places to live, but secondarily, use it as a way to build equity in real estate. I do want to have the flexibility where I'm not on call 24/7, because I don't want to be a parent forever.
You can do that.
Yeah.
You can do that. It's just our choice.
Right. Making money out of care is morally a little bit of a minefield, right? Because I never want to feel that I'm taking advantage of anybody who's in a vulnerable position to make money. But at the same time, I don't want to worry about, okay, when I die, who's going to run that business? It has to be financially stable enough that somebody could come in and buy the business or run the business, or we could hand it over to another organization to run for us. But in order for that to happen, it has to be financially viable.
When I first came here, I felt very nervous, but I'm getting into it now. Early mornings, late evenings, doing things that I never tried before. And I realized I would actually be an asset here. Morning, Wes. But there's still something that holds me back. Maybe an idea of who I should be. Expectations I imagine from people around me, and also my own definition of being a success and making a career.
The top social structures that I find hold people back is expectations from money, expectations from your family that you will be a success, expectations you put on yourself. Those expectations are going to keep you sitting at your desk, bored, miserable, and bitter. Stop putting expectations on yourself and just believe that you can.
Hey, Anna.
Yeah?
If you go ahead and go and throw hay to that horse there, I got hay laid out, and throw hay over to the other horse you give medicine to.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
And brush it.
Like any business, you put your vision forth, what you want it to be, but you hire people to help you bring that vision forth. A lot of people think, well, geez, I can't. Maybe I don't know how to ride, or maybe I don't know how to treat guests, I don't know how to run a hotel, or any of those things. This is why you hire people to do that. Because the one thing is, you can learn from them. And, I learned from a lot of my staff out here that may be more skilled at some things than I am. And then you learn from them, and before you know it, you've got that skill that comes with you.
JP has truly been an inspiration, and he has taught me that it really isn't that difficult to change career if I want to do that later. And he also gave me insights about my skills and that I could use them in other careers too.
You can imagine all these thoughts going through Anna's head, and I can imagine that that's why there's so much anxiety over a dream. It's the uncertainty about what it takes.
Well, working at the ranch is, there's a lot of hard work, You have to go up early in the morning, do a lot of things. So it's harder than I thought.
I think Anna will come back refreshed and having some clarity over this decision either way, whether it's a yes or a no.
The biggest drawback for her would be her not believing she can do it. And that's the biggest drawback for most people that have a dream. They're afraid to try it. The worst is going to happen. You tried it and it didn't work out. But the last thing you want is to go through life wishing you had done this dream and regret you never did it.
Yeah, I'd say buying this ranch is probably the best decision of my life.
All right, so one of the other things I was wondering was, how often do you speak to your parents on the phone?
I talk to my mom like once a week or 4 days or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was there, but also not there. I was there physically and engaging and learning, but also thinking about like, what are the implications for my life, for my family.
Amazing.
And I think that's what just put me in this bubble where, okay, now this is going to have to happen. I'm going to have to quit my job. I'm going to have to figure out the funding. We're going to have to work out the business model. We're going to have to really understand what it is that people want from a home. And all of these things start becoming real. In business school, that's one thing. It's a business case. But in real life, it's very different when you're dealing with real people's lives. And I think that was all starting to hit me at once. I think the moment I walked in the door, something unlocked in my head. Like, okay, it is real. We can do this for our son.
Okay. Okay, see if you can recognize these people.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, Sam.
Hello. Hello.
Be done a lot of someone.
Hi.
And did you recognize Megan? And do you recognize this guy?
Aye.
He knew all of you so well.
How did he guess that?
Because he's watched you on the specials.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Amazing.
What would you say has been the hardest thing in this whole journey?
The hardest thing, if I'm really honest, is you realise there are limitations with the guys, though you try. And one of the hardest things that actually is watching, say, Hilly, for example, and she's got a sister who's 5-year-old, and now you're seeing that sister's reading and moving above Hilly's ability, and you know Hilly knows. All the guys have that awareness that I have a limitation.
Hey Isaac, do you want to ask these guys any questions?
Do you believe in Santa?
Oh, that's a very good question.
That's a big and serious question. Do you believe in Santa?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
Do me.
Megan?
Megan.
Nice.
I think yes as well from me.
Think
about this one.
All right, on that excellent note, we're going to say goodbye.
The life that Isaac wants for himself, I saw reflected in the home today.
Bye, Isaac. Speak to you soon. Bye.
I'm anxious to get home to Los Angeles because I feel I have a direction now. Los Angeles is my home, and I'm happy to call it home, but it's just a home base. I've got to see what else is out there, and that is what I want more than anything. I just want to do as much as I can while I can. The most important thing it's kind of taught me is that my scatterbrain is always going to be there, and it's something that I shouldn't shy away from. It's something that I should try to accept. But what I want to pursue now is a career where I can either lead excursions or be a guide to these majestic places that are pretty much untouched by human hands. So in America, we have this thing called NOLS, which is the National Outdoor Leadership School. And basically what it is a certification system. Before you can actually do anything, you need to be certified in something. And the moment I get back, I'm going to start applying to those and combine my former passions and my present passion and something that's always lived within me. And they have a course that's up in Alaska that shows you how to live off of the land and how to guide expeditions and ensure that you can experience these wild places, and I can show them how important the world is.
Usually what stops people is thinking that it's impossible. And I guess I'm here to tell you that brains are dynamic right till the end. You want to constantly be learning new things, trying new experiences out. Your brain wants to flip the ladder. It doesn't want to stay in the same job forever.
I don't remember actually when I felt this stressless and at ease. I do like to try new things and to learn new things, and I think that's making you a better person and that gives you new perspectives. And that is exactly what's happened here. This project has taught me what seems like an unachievable dream is actually doable if you get over the mental hurdles. So from now on, I'm going to be braver And I will never let my brain dismiss my dreams again. But I still think it's just a childhood dream that came true. It won't be my real career dream any longer.
Hey, how are you? Good. Yeah. How were the boys this morning? We're just going to get going. We're going to get started. And it's really weird to say those words out loud, but I think we should do this. I really believe in it. And look, if anyone can do it, we can, right? Of course. So, are you in? I'm gonna quit my job. I can't believe it. We're actually gonna do it. All right. Okay, it sounds like you have to go. I love you so much.
The path you imagine for your life isn't always easy to follow. Not when you're 18 and have to pick a major in college, not when you're 24 and you start your first job, not when you're 35 and suddenly have a kid, and certainly not when you're 43 and in the middle of that midlife crisis. The truth is, there's no such thing as a straight path. Moving through this world is messy and wild and unpredictable. But when we open our eyes and our hearts to new challenges and new opportunities, we will always end up exactly where we're supposed to be.